Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching El General playing in his Tier 10 Soviet medium tank, the infamous T-22 medium tank. Now why is this infamous, or shall I say, more controversial? And that's because the majority of players who have managed to unlock this vehicle have done so illegitimately through rigging a series of 30 missions, the only way to be able to get this tank in the Rampage game mode. Now look, I'm not saying that El General has done this. He is a very, very good player. He is at the top of his game, and he is going to show us probably the best T-22 medium tank game that I have seen. I've seen quite a few. Now, why is the T-22 medium tank great? Well, one of the reasons why the T-22 medium tank is great is because of the shape of the hull. Do you see this V shape here, hull? This goes all the way through the tank, and all of the side armor is actually angled at that extreme angle from the side. So what that means is that if the T-22 medium tank doesn't give almost a complete flat angle of its side armor, it's going to be an auto ricochet. So you see many T-22 medium tank drivers doing reverse side scraping like this. Now, if you shoot a T-22 medium tank in the side like this, it doesn't matter what gun you're really firing with, unless you're firing high explosive rounds, you're not going to do any damage to the side of this vehicle. It's not until really the tank goes pretty much like this that a tank will be able to penetrate the side of the armor. That's just how darn well angled it is. And so what should you do when you're having to try to take on one of these seemingly impenetrable beasts? Well, if it's angling its armor like this, the part that you want to shoot is actually here on the front plate that's angled towards you and not the side armor. So quite often what a T-22 medium tank driver will do, especially the competent ones like El General, will bait you into shooting his side armor through looking like he's over-angling it. But it's because of that V-shaped hull that exaggerates the angle that will lead it to be over 70 degrees, which is the point where an auto ricochet occurs in World of Tanks, unless your shell caliber completely overmatches the thickness of the armor. Now we're going to see a very good example of that here. Look at this, an E75 and an FV4 202P. Two tanks that have got between 210 to 250 millimeters of penetration depending on what gun the E75 is using, and none of them are able to even come close to penetrating the side of the tank because they're shooting directly at the side. From here, it looks like El General is a terrible player, and he's exposing loads of his side armor. So most players will be shooting here. In fact, what you have to do, as we mentioned, is shoot the front plate when he's angling it towards you, and that'll be your ticket to be able to take them out. And I can't really emphasize that enough. Because it must be bloody frustrating for players to not think that they have a chance in taking on this tank. Now, the other statistics of the vehicle are rather nice. It has excellent weapon handling, it has 1.9 seconds aim time, it has 0.33 accuracy, and it has that trusty 100mm Soviet main armament. But the rate of fire of this main armament isn't really that good compared to the other Soviet medium tanks. It fires 8 rounds a minute. Whereas the Object 140 and the T-62A fire just over 9 rounds a minute, and the Object 430 is way above that with the highest DPM I think on any medium tank. And so the T-22 medium tank, while its DPM is still good, it's certainly not coming close to almost best in class like the other Soviet medium tanks have. So that is the downside of the vehicle. Also, 5 degrees of gun depression, 1 degree less than the Object 140, makes it quite inflexible over ridge lines. And as soon as it angles its lower plate upwards, then it's going to be an easy shot. But it's just so well angled that if you're fighting one of these tanks head on, that you really don't want to fire at the lower plate, you want to fire at the upper plate. But sorry, I'm distracting you by telling you how to take these tanks out effectively, and I'm detracting from the fact that El General has picked up 4 kills, 4,000 damage, and now he's going to town on the front of this Tier 8 Soviet heavy tank, the IS-3. Knows exactly where to be taking that vehicle out. Now, interestingly enough, El General is going for quite a bit of a funky consumable loadout here. We can see he's using, a premium consumable, which is, it's a good choice. He's still using a fire extinguisher, though, because Soviet medium tanks are quite flammable, especially from the front, and he's already used his repair kit. So I guess he doesn't think that he takes much, crew damage in this tank. He's basically deciding to use a premium consumable instead of using, the food consumable, I should clarify, instead of using that med kit. So he shuts down the E75, picking up the top gun. How much further is he going to go? And right now, he is having to play against some rather good players, albeit in lower tier tanks. So let's see how he handles these gentlemen. So the FV4 202P that we saw shooting at him with the E75 earlier on has fallen back. Doesn't penetrate his side armor, but oh gosh, there's a Lorraine taking shots directly on the front. When the T-22 medium tank is not angling, that makes the upper plate actually quite weak, and the Lorraine should be able to go through his tank, as we can see there, doing 309 damage. That time ricocheting though, because El General had angled his tank. But it looks like the Lorraine knew exactly where to shoot him as he puts another round down onto the front plate and not the side armor, penetrating him, bringing him down to 470 hit points. But it looks like it's too little, too late. Still having 470 hit points, even though he's picked up 7,000 damage and 7 kills. Looks like he's going to be trying to win the slots this game. Now, the T-22 medium tank has some pretty darn good ground resistances, and it's got a 21.04 power to weight ratio, which means that it's quite nippy, as we can see here, just cutting through this fairly swampy terrain that you get towards the west of Lakeshire. Puts a good shot into the lower plate of the WZ-120, taking off his tracks, and this is where this tank is going to do very well. The T-22 medium tank, sorry, the WZ-122, 122, it uses 122mm, which is quite slow firing, albeit with good alpha damage. And now there's a Foch 155. Here we go, Tier 10 French tank destroyer. Surely this is going to get through the front of the T-22 medium tank, right? There's the side armor, great ricochet. He's shooting the side armor. Stop shooting the side armor. That one failing to go through the tank. Absorbed again. Will the IS-3 be able to finish him off? El General picking up his 9th kill. 8,775 damage. Come on, will he get his 10th kill? Yes! Oh my word! Only 267. What an absolute disastrous low roll. Will the IS-3 steal his 10th kill? Oh, he hits a tiny little ledge coming out there. Oh, come on. You've got all the time in the world. There you go. 10th kill. Job done. So if this is the first time you've seen this tank in action, it might now become clear to you why people were rigging missions to be able to get it, and that's because it is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Probably the most heavily armored medium tank, I'd say, with still a very respectable gun and very decent mobility. But it looks like the T-22 medium tank might be about to hit with some pretty heavy nerfs in the upcoming patches, as Wargaming is super testing some pretty harsh changes to this vehicle. But none of that is set in stone at the moment. One thing we do know, however, is that this was an amazing round for El General. Let's just take a quick look at the post-game stats. El General certainly picked up a series of medals which are suitable considering his name. Spartan medal for the ricochet with low health, cool-headed for ricocheting at least 10 shells in a row, the Pools medal for destroying 10 enemy tanks, the high caliber medal, and boy what a high caliber this was, for 9,000 damage done, a scout medal for seeing at least 9 vehicles on the enemy team, and unsurprisingly, a steel wall for being able to take 7,400 potential damage, 5,600 blocked by the side armor of this monstrous Tier 10 Soviet medium tank. This was 1,816 base experience points, one of the highest I've ever seen in a Tier 10 vehicle, and that's because frankly El General just put himself at the front, weathered the storm, and just kept shooting for pretty much 6 minutes. Now fair enough, this was a very nice matchup for this tank. There were only 3 Tier 10 vehicles, 3 Tier 9s, and the rest being Tier 8, which really do not have the punch to be able to challenge this tank's armor, and in addition there were no artillery to be able to rebalance this vehicle. But I think it really showcases the T-22 medium tank at its strongest, and we'll just have to wait and see what Wargaming have planned for the nerfs to the T-22 medium tank. So El General, thank you so much for uploading this on the QuickyBaby Replays website. It was a pleasure to watch, and thank you for demonstrating the raw power of this beast for all of us. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. If you did, please consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if this video has sparked your interest in the T-22 medium tank, then simply click through up here or use that more info icon in the top right hand corner of your screen to go through to a full tank review. And let me know what you guys think about the T-22 medium tank in the comments down below. Do you think it's just completely overpowered? And are you happy to see it nerfed? Or do you think the fact that the vehicle doesn't have grade A DPM makes up for all of the strengths that it has? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.